Time for our weekly check-in with our legal experts. Sports Legal is the name of the segment, and Pittsburgh attorney Frank Walker is our guest every week, chiming in on the legal news in the sports world. You can check out Frank on the web, frankwalkerlaw.com. Real talk, real experience, real results. Frank, how are you?
Good. How about yourself, Ken?
Pretty good. We got a big trial this week with Roger Clemens in baseball, which I guess we're getting used to these perjury slash steroid-related scandals, aren't we?
Oh yeah. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be very interesting.
Now, do you feel like the case or the government committee here that's going after some of these baseball stars, do they learn anything by the Bonds trial that they can carry over into the Clemens issue a year later?
Well, I think in the Bonds trial that they rested it clearly on one witness, and that witness refused to testify, opting instead just to stay in jail in contempt of court. Whereas in this case, they have a witness. Actually, they have two. They have McNamee, and they also have, I believe, Pettit. But McNamee has some issues because he's like a former police officer. He's lied under oath before. He's lied about investigations. He's lied about just different things in the past. So I think that the attorneys for Clemens can really tear him apart. But the issue comes when Pettit takes a stand, because he really didn't. I don't think he lied as much as McNamee, but he wasn't as forthcoming as McNamee. So I think technically how you go after Pettit is that you try to introduce his statement piece by piece and show where he was not really forthcoming in the beginning, as he wants everyone to believe. So I think it's going to be very interesting how they put it together. I think the judge in the case is very experienced, and he will let the attorneys try the case, but he has a tight rein on it. He's very experienced, and he's a good judge for the case.
I imagine the jury which the selection was kicked off this week, will be instrumental in that. How big of a role does that play to have a jury panel that has no idea who Roger Clemens is or his history, et cetera, et cetera?
I think it's crucial. You always want a jury you want the jury informed of issues, but you don't want them having too much information about the individuals in the case.
Yeah.
But I mean, now in this day and age of the internet, a simple Google search will show the background of all the parties in the case, including down to the lawyers and the law clerks. But I think the jury coming in with a clean slate, showing that they don't have knowledge of Clemens and any of his past dealings or alleged past dealings, that's helpful for all sides. Because the worst thing a lawyer can have is to have to try the same case a second time over. And you don't want to do that. You want to avoid all inferences that will lead to a mistrial and have to try it over again with a different jury. You just want a fair trial for both sides.
Well, and Rusty Hardin is Roger Clemens' lead attorney. I'm sure you know, Frank, and I can even hear just chatting with you. You're personable. You're fun to listen to, entertaining. It appears Rusty Hardin's got that sort of persona, right, that has made him a legend in Texas.
Yes. I read up on him and did a little research, and I've never heard of this before, but a juror actually sent him thank you cards for being so nice and being so succinct when it comes to the trial, and not being long-winded and just getting right to the point. So that's very good for Clemens. Now,
it's tough to prove perjury, is it not? I mean, that's got to be a tough thing to prove for the prosecution.
It is tough. You have to, because the person who's charged of, they also have that deniability where they can say they meant to say something else, like it's a vague statement, and they can explain it away by saying, well, I really meant that statement to mean this, as opposed to how you're accepting it to be. I meant for it to mean this, as opposed to how you're planning it out and try to prove it that was a false statement.
Yeah. Do you have a hunch on this one, Frank? Because, I mean, obviously in the week of Casey Anthony here, nobody's quite sure what to make of court hearings these days.
I don't know. I don't know, and that's a good thing. I mean, that's a good thing from the outside looking in. I think both the prosecution and the defense, they have a hill in front of them as far as evidence is concerned, and I think it will be an interesting case to watch from a legal perspective, but also from the sports world, because the impact that it will have on future alleged users of HGH and any other performance drugs.
Sports Legal segment with Pittsburgh attorney Frank Walker, frankwalkerlaw.com. Real talk, real experience, real results, and more college football problems. The Yahoo Sports piece that broke on July 1st, outlining some potential rule breaking with the Oregon Ducks and Chip Kelly, their head coach. Obviously, the the trail and the legal proceedings in this, it was more for Jim Tressel to cover up, I guess, and less about things proceeding to a court case. But do you see this going somewhere down the road?
Well, it's tough. I mean, I tried to advise, clients and citizens about how not to break the law. I mean, just follow the rules, follow the law. And you don't want to tell them, certain things. Like a lot of people say, use cash, that can't be traced. Use a throwaway cell phone, that can't be traced. You don't want to tell them that. I mean, that's the street knowledge. But in this case, in the Kelly case, I think he paid the in-between, the ombudsperson, the in-between person, with a company with a check from the school, from the university. And I just can't understand what he was thinking. I mean, granted, this is just the allegations, and I want to be cautious because, like you said, in light of the Casey incident, a lot of people were saying, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. This is funny to me. I mean, I can't get around it. I mean, there's no other way to put it other than you paid this guy with a check from the school, and then you want to turn around and say that you didn't mean it for it to be for athletes. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're going to cheat, do it right. It would be the one way to look at it. But on the other sense, maybe he just felt like the organization, the university was totally behind him, and nobody would ever give him up or have reason to dig into it until this guy flipped on him.
I don't know. That's a tough sell, and that's coming from a criminal defense attorney.
Yeah,
that's a tough sell.
Roy Williams is the other big story in legal news this week. I guess he's going to get his engagement ring back, is the latest, but he is suing a former girlfriend he proposed to via mail. Sent the ring and a proposal, didn't work out. She didn't turn the ring back. Would he have had legal cause to get the ring returned to him?
Well, that's an interesting issue. The general rule in family law is that when you give a gift of an engagement ring, it's viewed as a gift, in that you give it to the person and they are entitled to it, even if you break it off. Now, there are issues where, you'll say, well, I'm giving you this ring in exchange for your hand in marriage, and a lot of people even go as far as saying that there's a contract for it because you're dealing with expensive jewelry.
Right.
If something happens, maybe you want that back. But generally accepted that a ring is a gift. And if things fall down, unless there's something in writing or some other arrangement, then it's a gift, and that person the recipient keeps it. But I think in this case, I believe the father stepped in and said he has the ring, he's going to give it back to him. He doesn't want any further legal issues for his daughter. But first of all, how do you propose to someone in the mail? I mean, that's bad. Now, I know we're in social media. I know we're just at the age of Twitter and Facebook and everything, but proposing to someone in the mail?
Well, it's
I don't know.
The fear of rejection, I guess. You're not around to, she says no, you don't feel so bad. She sends a note back.
It's not, but I think he has other issues to worry about, maybe staying on the team. But I hope this gets resolved, hopefully before the lockout ends, and we're not talking about this because I can imagine his teammates giving him a really hard time when he gets to camp.
Oh, I don't think he wanted any part of this coming out, but obviously with the lawsuit, it got a little public. I mean, that's got to happen a lot, though, right? With engagements that go bad, and it's got to be a common thing. People wanting their rings back and not getting it.
Yeah, sadly it's a common theme. I mean, you see a lot of people, young people, they rush into it, or they came in the money, whether it be a contract for a sports agent or for whatever reason, they sports agreement they came into some money, and all of a sudden they want to get married. They want to flash and show, okay, this is who I'm going to marry through my life. I want them to be, outshine everyone else. I want to spend $150,000 on an engagement ring and not really work on, the things you really need to work on to sustain a long, healthy marriage. But instead, they just want to buy expensive jewelry and things. They don't work on things they should be working on, and things fall apart. So it's just, I think it's a sign of the times that people are rushing into things, and instead of really taking it slow and methodically thinking things through about, how the differences and what are the things that are going to keep us together. Instead, they're just trying to buy love, which you really can't do.
Well, unfortunately, things happen, Frank, and sometimes they need advice and experience. You provide them both. How do folks get a hold of you, and what can you do for them?
They can visit me online, frankwalkerlaw.com. They can give me a call, 412-532-6805. That's the local number. and then give me a call, schedule a consultation, come in and talk to me about the issues that they're facing, and if I can help them out, great. If not, I can tell them why I can't help them, and maybe I have a good network of experienced attorneys or good friends of mine, and maybe we can send them along the way in their direction. But for the most part, they can visit me online or just drop me a line.
Frank, great stuff as always, sir. We'll talk to you next week.
I appreciate it, Ken. Take care.
Sports Liga with Frank Walker. More Trib Live Radio coming up.